Danbury Library, here with another episode of Globetrekkers. Are you ready to continue exploring the 7 continents? Well, pack your bag and let's go! So far on our trip around the globe, exploring the 7 continents, we have visited South America, Europe, North America. In our future episodes, we'll be exploring Asia, Oceania, and Antarctica. Today, we're going to be traveling to Africa. Africa is a land of big skies and fiery sunsets. Here you can see some of the last great herds of wild animals on our planet. Ancient fossils in the rocks show that this is where human beings first evolved, and where we all have our roots. Hundreds of years ago, there were great African kingdoms and empires, but most of the continent came under the control of other countries. Some Africans were sold into slavery. Today, most African countries rule themselves, but many still face problems such as poor health and lack of clean water. Droughts make life hard on farmers. Many people have been troubled by war, crime, and poverty. Young Africans want another kind of future. Today, Africa has more young people under the age of 20 than any other continent. That means hope. You can feel the buzz and energy in school classrooms, on the busy streets of big cities, and in distant villages. In Kenya, there is a line painted across the road marking the equator. You can place one foot on either side so that you are standing in both the northern and southern halves of the globe at the same time. The equator runs right across the middle of Africa. Much of the region is warm and steamy. Its rainforests support chimpanzees, gorillas, and more than 11,000 plant species. Heavy rains fill the lakes and big rivers, the home of crocodiles and hippos. To the north and south, there are dry grasslands known as savanna, where the lion is king. There are also great deserts and mountains too. The highest ones have heavy snow peaks, even in the hottest countries. First, let's travel to northern Africa. Here you'll find Algeria, Chad, Egypt, Libya, Mali, Mauritania, Morocco, Niger, Sudan, and Tunisia. There is an amazing square called Jama El Fana in Marrakesh, Morocco. Join the crowds and you can smell delicious spices and see dancers, storytellers, snake charmers, and water sellers in traditional clothes. In northern Africa, you will also see farmers picking olives by the Mediterranean Sea, or modern city streets and busy college students and office workers in internet cafes. To the south are the mountain ranges of the Atlas and the vast wilderness of the Sahara Desert. In the south, it fringes the Sahel region, often dry but grazed by goats and cattle. Eastwards, the Nile surges through the deserts of Sudan and Egypt, providing life, water for humans, animals and crops, and hydropower for cities. In some parts of the desert, there is water trapped deep underground in rocks. At oases, this water is brought to the surface via channels and wells. Plants can grow here and provide shade. Dates can be harvested. Goats and camels can be brought to the oasis for water. Next, let's go to Eastern Africa. Here, we'll find Burundi, Comoros, Djibouti, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Kenya, Rwanda, Seychelles, Somalia, South Sudan, Tanzania, and Uganda. Journeys can take you to all sorts of places in Eastern Africa. Coffee farms, forests, cities or villages of thatched huts. So why not try a bus? You may be sharing it with chickens going to market, or maybe you can ride a train or a truck, or a crazily crowded Matatu minibus. That can be a bumpy ride, but you're sure to meet all kinds of people and hear many different languages. Inland, there are the deserts of Somalia, the highlands of Ethiopia, the blue and white Nile, and the Great Rift Valley. To the west are Africa's Great Lakes and the green hills and red earth of Uganda, Rwanda, and Burundi. Let's move west to Central and Western Africa. Here, we'll find Benin, Burkina Faso, Cameroon, Cape Verde, Central African Republic, Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Gabon, Gambia, Ghana, Guinea, Guinea-Bissau, Ivory Coast, Liberia, Nigeria, Sao Tome and Principe, Senegal, Sierra Leone, and Togo. Welcome to the heart of Africa, a land of great forests and rivers. There are rich company mines and oil wells in some regions, yet many people suffer from poverty and wars. Long ago, peoples from around the Niger and Congo rivers spread out across the continent. Their wonderful masks and carvings have become classic images of Africa and highly prized by collectors all over the world. Central Africa is warm and humid, with thunder and heavy rains. These feed the waterways that flow into the River Congo on its long journey to the Atlantic Ocean. The vast forests of the Congo region extend into West Africa, but as you travel north, they give way to grasslands and then dry and dusty plains. Finally, let's go south to Southern Africa. Here we'll discover Angola, Botswana, Lesotho, Madagascar, Malawi, Mauritius, Mozambique, Namibia, South Africa, Swaziland, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. A young man checks into work at the oil terminal at the port of Beira, Mozambique. In Angola, a group of women dig potatoes with their babies bundled on their backs. In a market in Malawi, women are selling bananas. Student nurses are caring for hospital patients in Lusaka, Zambia. It's another day in Southern Africa. The continent of Africa narrows to the south, where the great slab of Table Mountain looks out over Cape Town and the open ocean. Southern Africa has tropical forests, grasslands, bush and mountain ranges, such as the Drakensbergs. Here are the big rivers such as the Zambezi, the Okavango, and the Limpopo, and the Orange. But also parched deserts and the Kalahari and the Namib. Altogether, there are 54 different countries recognized by the United Nations in Africa. Today, we're going to take a closer look at some of the people who live in the various countries and regions of the African continent. Today's book is called Africa is Not a Country by Margie Burns Knight and Mark McIndicove. You can find this book on Hoopla using your library card. Africa is not a country. The sun is starting to rise as Aram and Ephraim get up to prepare for school. They take showers, change into school uniforms, and comb their hair while listening to children's programs on the radio. After a breakfast of sweet, hot tea and bread with butter and marmalade, they put on their book bags. Their parents gently pat them on their heads and say, "May God be with you the whole day." The boys kiss their parents' hands and respond, "Yekele," which means thank you in Tigrinya, a widely spoken language in Eritrea. Before they walk out of the door with their father, who is going to his office in downtown Asmara, The boys are reminded by their mother to always respect their teachers and elders. It is early morning in Palepo, a village in Cameroon. Before breakfast, Manto spends an hour selling fresh milk from the gourd she carries on her head. Tepe washes the dishes while Neklo and Fola collect firewood and take several trips to the well. Their chores will be complete when there is enough water and firewood for the day. After a breakfast of pap, a cereal made of corn, the children will walk to school with their friends. Classes start in a few minutes. Kip and Erengi know they won't be late because they are so quick. Every day they run several miles to school through the highlands of Kenya. Both Erengi and Kip want to join a running team when they get to high school. They love to run long distances. When they are older, the children hope to train as marathon runners so they can compete with the fastest racers from all over the world. With Pula in her hand, Mapula walks to the corner store to buy fresh bread for breakfast. Pula is the name of the currency in Botswana. It is also the word for rain in Setswana, a language spoken by over 1 million people. Since rain is often scarce, it is very important to the people who live there. Sometimes babies are named after different kinds of rain. Mupula is named for Mother of Rain. On wintry mornings in July, Thomas and his father wrap blankets around their shoulders to keep warm in the Drakensberg Mountains of Lesotho. Lehoa is a word for snow in Sesotho, the main language spoken in Lesotho. There are very few words for snow in Africa's 1,000 other languages, because it never snows in most countries. In Lesotho, the paths can be slippery, so father and son use mountain-savvy ponies to travel to the market, and then to visit friends and relatives. Mona, Bathma, and Hala spill out of their homes in Cairo to walk to school on jammed sidewalks. Mona likes to leave early so she can stop at a kiosk to buy hot, spicy beans and bread for breakfast. The students walk by early morning traffic jams, passing apartment buildings and ancient mosques. If they choose to walk down the Nile, they would see ships from all over the world anchored in the river's harbors. Cairo, which means victorious in Arabic, is Egypt's capital and Africa's largest city. Mona, Basma, and Hala spill out of their homes in Cairo to walk to school on jammed sidewalks. Mona likes to leave early so she can stop at the kiosk to buy hot, spicy beans and bread for breakfast. The students walk by early morning traffic jams, passing apartment buildings and ancient mosques. If they choose to walk down by the Nile, they would see ships from all over the world anchored in the river harbors. Cairo, which means victorious in Arabic, is Egypt's capital and Africa's largest city. As the teacher talks about their country's history, Abina and Doreen remember the dance they performed at last year's Independence Day parade. On March 6, 1957, the Gold Coast declared its independence from Great Britain and changed its name to Ghana. It was the first West African colony to become a nation. Today, children in every African country celebrate an Independence Day or Nation Day. Ari and Rudu and the other children are practicing for a choir concert later today in another part of Harare. They will sing 2 songs, one about the seasonal rains that help the crops to grow, and the other about the abundance of wildlife in Zimbabwe. Each song will be sung in English and Shona. Zimbabwe means stone enclosure in Shona, which is both the name and language of the people who built the kingdom of Great Zimbabwe about 700 years ago. The mid-morning sun is already hot when Cyprian asks Justine to help him and the other children draw stories in the sand. They are making pictures about the fighting in Rwanda. They show how they were trapped by men with guns and knives who destroyed their villages. Tens of thousands of children live in refugee camps. Most of them are thought to be orphans. Some of the children will be reunited with their families, but for the majority there is little hope that they will see their parents again. Workers in the camp toil around the clock to cook meals and take care of the children. Mohammed, Safi, and her baby sister do not stand too close to the tired camels, which have just finished a 500-mile trek from the salt mines of northern Mali to Timbuktu. Founded upon an oasis, this 900-year-old city has long been associated with mystery and wealth. The valuable slabs of shiny white salt, about 70 pounds each, will be taken off the camels and piled into taxis, which will drive the salt to boats bound for the city of Mopti on the Niger River. From Mopti, the salt will be loaded onto trucks headed for neighboring countries, whose people will use it to season their food. On Fogo, an island within the island nation of Cape Verde, Maria, Carolina, and Celso work in the fields. They have milked the goats and weeded their plants. Carolina shoos away the crows and keeps the hungry goats out of the watermelon and squash patches. Just before lunch, the children dig up sweet potatoes. They will bring them to their father, Jose, who has been farming with them all morning. He will roast the potatoes over an open fire and serve them with goat's milk. All morning, Lydia, his wife, has been selling goods to her customers in town. She will come home in time to eat lunch with her family before returning to her shop. Anna, Celeste, and Darian have come to market in Cotonou, Benin's busiest city, to buy beans and tomatoes for lunch. As Senna holds her cousin's hand, she greets each vendor. When she says mifonya, or mifonon, or mifonde, or ejidada, or bonjour, she hears two little voices repeat each greeting. The Mi greetings are in the Fon, Guan, and Mina languages. Senna speaks Fon at home. It is similar to Guan and Mina, which Senna has learned to speak from friends and relatives. Ejidada is Yoruba. Senna's grandmother is Yoruba, so she speaks the language well. The French bonjour is not heard as often as other greetings, but Senna speaks it every day in school. Every afternoon, sounds of kicking, passing, and scoring echo through the backyards, streets, and parks of the coastal city of Abidjan in Côte d'Ivoire. Henri and his friends play soccer for hours on end. In their neighborhood, all the players pitch in a few francs to buy a ball. This time, Henri is keeper of the ball. He will take it home between games. When not playing, the boys may be watching their favorite team on television. If soccer games are not carried on TV, they are broadcast in 10 local languages on the radio. In her family's tent in the Sahara Desert in Mauritania, Fatima greets an afternoon guest with tea. As she pours the hot, sweet drink, her sister Asha watches it foam in the glasses. While the grown-ups visit, Fatima will paint Asha's hands with bright, intricate patterns made from the powder of henna leaves. Later, Fatima and Asha will share Loha, a wooden tablet used to study verses from the Quran, the holy book of the Muslim people. The girls will learn passages by chanting them out loud. Priscilla and Mary have been traveling for several hours, so they are hungry. They poke their heads out of the window to buy some bananas, of which there are at least 17 varieties in Tanzania. Today, the girls have two choices. Their uncle has gone into the duka to buy them cold drinks. The girls hope that the man who drives the basi will soon tell them all and all the passengers to get back on board. They want to get to their grandmothers in time to play with their cousins before supper. Every afternoon, Mariam, Umar, and their friends play leapfrog and marbles on the beach in Senegal as they wait for the fishing boats to return with the day's catch. As soon as the boats are beached, the fishermen begin to divide the several hundred ocean perch and redfish. A few fish are given to those who helped push the boats out into the surf that morning. Each fishing family gets a share of the fish. Even if a fisherman is sick and can't work, fish are set aside for his family. The remainder are often sold to the buyer from Dakar, who shows up in a truck. Hab and Makone watch their mother to hurry into the car so they can get to the National Museum in Addis Ababa to see the Lucy exhibit. Lucy is one of the reasons that Africa is referred to as the cradle of humankind. More than 3 million years old, Lucy's remains were unearthed in 1974 in eastern Ethiopia. Paleoanthropologists were thrilled at how much of Lucy's skeleton was found. Only 40 inches tall, Lucy was a full-grown hominid. And like us, she walked on 2 legs. It is not known exactly how Lucy is related to modern-day humans. That is why it is exciting whenever a fossil is found in Africa. It may provide a missing link to our past. Taj and Josephine dug small holes in the sand of Sudan to play the game Athiga. Both children count and toss stones from hole to hole. Josephine wins because she captures the most stones. Almost immediately, Taj sets up the stones for a second game. Thiga, which is called Gabeta in Eurita, Torso in Zimbabwe, and Mancala in Liberia, is played by children and grown-ups throughout Africa and the world. Many archaeologists think that Mancala is the world's oldest game. Stone carvings of Mancala boards have been found in ancient Egyptian pyramids and temples. Ondel and Umbo have just finished soccer practice. Even though they are hungry, it is not time for supper. Hot and thirsty, they have plopped down on the couch, sipping from glasses of cool water as they watch cartoons. After the shows, the boys and Ondel's sister will go to Umbo's house to eat salted fish with mushrooms, fufu, and cassava leaves. If they are still hungry, they may go back to Ondel's house for more fufu and fish. Fufu is made of kassa roots, which have been ground into flour and cooked into boiling water. These roots are bigger than potatoes. The large leafy greens of the cassava plant are a delicious vegetable enjoyed not only throughout the children's country, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, but elsewhere in tropical Africa as well. Sandy and Theto are just home from school in Soweto, South Africa. They stayed after to practice a play about 3 Nobel Peace Prize winners from South Africa. Chief Albert John Luthuli, the Reverend Desmond Tutu, and President Nelson Mandela dedicated their lives to seeing that all people were treated fairly regardless of their skin color. Their grandmother, Nombini, is home from work. She has cooked a large pot of curried chicken and vegetables. The children's mother, Mathabo, and their uncle Oliver will not return from their jobs in Johannesburg until after Tandy and Taito have washed the dishes and finished their homework. The alluring fragrance of onions, red peppers, and ginger wafts through Ahmad's apartment in Algiers, the capital of Algeria. Tonight his mother has steamed and served couscous, the national dish, with spices and lamb in a big pan. Couscous, which is made from wheat, is sometimes mixed with honey, cinnamon, and almonds to make a dessert pudding. As the common plate of food is shared and savored, Ahmed and his family tell jokes and sip apricot juice. Kuba wants to get it right. His father, uncles, and grandfathers are watching to see if he is dancing exactly the same way as they did when they were boys. Nearly every evening after supper, Chuba puts on his traditional outfit to practice the ancient dances of the Igbo of southeastern Nigeria. As he concentrates on what his teachers are showing him, he wonders if he will be one of the few boys his age to be chosen to perform this year at weddings, Christmas celebrations, and the harvest festivals. Other boys will be picked to sing and drum. Arula tells the first riddle because she yelled, "Guoga, I am telling you a riddle," in Somali, before all the others. They are playing Gogalasi, a 1,000-year-old game from Somalia. You are in a canoe and must cross the river with only 3 things: a goat, a cheetah, and a patch of grass. You can take only 2 items with you in the canoe at one time. You cannot take the goat with the grass or the cheetah with the goat, because the goat would eat the grass and the cheetah would eat the goat. So what do? With a huge grin, Samatir shouts, "Adele, I know the answer. First cross with the goat, come back for the grass, drop it off, but after dropping it off, bring back the goat. Get the cheetah, but leave the goat behind. Finally, come back for the goat and cross the river. Wojan cries, "Ooga!" and the game begins again. It is just about dark when the city bus number 15 from Antananarivo pulls up in front of the It is just about dark when the city bus number 15 from Antananarivo pulls up in front of the Timbizara Zoo. Didier, Charlotte, and Benoit are the first 3 students to scramble off the bus. They quickly get into the line to buy tickets for the night visit to watch Ai, a nocturnal lemur that has ears like a bat and a tail like a fox. There are more than 50 varieties of lemurs in Madagascar. The children are delighted to find that the tiny Ai are awake when they reach them. The sun is set, the children have finished their chores and brushed their teeth, and the stars are shining in the sky over Togo. Abla hopes to hear the story about Market Day held each Tuesday near her house. Afi wants to hear about the little girl and the lion. Kofi smiles as his father begins to speak. Once there was a wise little girl whose mother told her that if she was home alone, she would not let anyone in unless she heard the secret password. Though she has heard the story many times before, Afi's eyes grow wide when a sneaky lion tries to trick the girl into opening the door. But the lion doesn't know the password, and the girl is not fooled. The children want another story, but it is late and they have to get up early for school. Before being tucked into bed, they recite prayers with their parents and give thanks for another long, full day. The end. Today, we're going to be making our own Mancala board, just like in the story. It is one of the world's most ancient games and is a game for 2 players and uses 48 counters or stones. Are you ready to make your own Mancala board? Let's do it. To make our Mancala board, we'll need an egg carton for a dozen eggs, some tape, some scissors, and 48 counters. They can be beads, buttons, rocks, stones. I'm going to be using beads, and it doesn't matter what colors they are. They can be all different colors, they can be all the same color. You just need 48. To make the board itself, it's really easy. We're just going to trim off the side here. And the other side. Mancala is played with 12 holes or pits where all the stones are going to be stored. You're also going to need a bank or a Mancala at either end for the 2 players. To make the Mancala, you're just going to trim 2 edges. Just like this. And then tape them to the ends of your egg carton. And that's it. That's a Mancala board. To set up your board, you're going to place 4 stones in each of these wells or holes. And now you and your partner are ready to play Mancala.
Well, I hope you enjoyed learning all about Africa and making your own Mancala board game. You can find the directions to play Mancala at the end of this video. And stay tuned for our next episode when we travel to Antarctica. I hope to see you soon. Bye!